Close your eyes and picture Satan. What do you see? I'm guessing it's something specific. Red skin, maybe. A pair of large leathery wings. A pointed tail, a pitchfork, and of course, the horns. He is the Lord of Hell, the ultimate evil, the terrifying villain of 1,000,000 nightmares and 1,000 horror movies. This image is so powerful, so instantly recognizable, it feels ancient, eternal. But what if I told you that the devil you just pictured is almost entirely absent from the Bible? What if the horns and pitchfork come from a forgotten Greek god? What if his tragic backstory was invented by a blind 17th century poet? And what if his role as a horror movie monster says more about our modern anxieties than it does about any ancient evil? The figure of Satan has haunted the Western world for millennia, but he hasn't been a single static character. He has been a shapeshifter, an idea that has evolved dramatically over time. Today, we journey from the heavenly courts of the Old Testament to the bloody basements of Hollywood horror to track the incredible evolution of Satan and reveal how a celestial prosecutor was transformed into America's favorite movie villain. Title card: dark, gothic typography, perhaps with imagery that transitioned from ancient scrolls to flickering film strips. From fallen angel to horror movie villain, the evolution of Satan in the American imagination. To find the origin of Satan, we have to go back to the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament. And the first surprise is, he's barely in it. The word Satan appears only a handful of times, and it's not even a proper name. In ancient Hebrew, Ha-Satan means the accuser or the adversary. It's a title, not a name. It describes a job. And whose employee was this Satan? God's. The most famous example is in the book of Job. Here, the Satan is a member of God's heavenly court, one of the angelic beings. His job is to roam the earth and test the righteousness of humankind. He's cynical, for sure. He bets God that the pious man Job will curse God if his life is ruined. He's an antagonist, but he is not the enemy of God. He works for God. He's a celestial prosecutor, a divine district attorney. There is no rebellion. There is no hell under his command. There's no mention of a fallen angel named Lucifer. The snake in the Garden of Eden? It's just a snake. It's never explicitly identified as Satan in the book of Genesis. So, the original Satan was a functionary in the divine bureaucracy, not a cosmic villain. To get the devil we know today, we need a revolution in religious thought. That revolution happened in the period between the Old and New Testaments. During this time, Jewish culture came into contact with other powerful belief systems, most notably Zoroastrianism from Persia. Zoroastrianism had a concept that would change everything: cosmic, dualism, the idea of a universe locked in a grand struggle between a single all-powerful good deity and a single all-powerful evil deity. This dualistic thinking began to influence Jewish apocalyptic literature, non-biblical texts like the Book of Enoch. It's in these texts that the story of a rebellion in heaven first takes shape. The idea of angels, led by a powerful figure, who defy God, are cast out of heaven and become demons who torment humanity. This is the character that Christianity inherits and expands upon. The New Testament transforms Satan from the accuser into the ultimate enemy. He is the tempter of Christ in the desert. The book of Revelation calls him that ancient serpent, retroactively identifying him with the snake from Genesis. He is the prince of this world, the great deceiver, the cosmic enemy of God and all of creation. The name Lucifer also enters the story here, but through a famous mistranslation. The prophet Isaiah mockingly calls a Babylonian king Daystar, son of dawn. In Latin, this became Lucifer, or Lightbringer. Early Christians reread this passage and saw it not as a jab at a human king, but as the story of the brightest angel who fell from heaven due to his pride. And so, by the end of the biblical era, all the pieces are on the board. Satan is no longer God's DA. He is the fallen angel Lucifer, the cosmic rebel, the ruler of demons, and the sworn enemy of all that is good. But he still didn't have a face. For the next 1,000 years, the image of the devil was shaped in the fires of the medieval imagination. Art and folklore gave him his monstrous features. The horns, goat-like legs, and pitchfork were likely borrowed from older pagan deities like the Greek god Pan, a way for the growing church to demonize rival religions. But two literary giants would cement his personality for all time. First, in the 14th century, the Italian poet Dante Alighieri, in his epic poem Inferno, gave us our first detailed tour of hell. And at its frozen center, we find his Satan, a monstrous, three-headed beast trapped in ice, mindlessly chewing on the greatest traitors of history. Dante's devil is terrifying, but he is pathetic. He is a prisoner, not a king. Then in 1667, everything changed. A blind English poet named John Milton published Paradise Lost, and he gave the world the Satan we still have today. Milton's Satan is not a mindless monster. He is a tragic, complex, and charismatic anti-hero. He is an angel who believes he has been wronged by a tyrannical god. He is defiant, proud, and compelling. He gets all the best lines, famously declaring, "Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven." Milton's Satan is the prototype for countless literary and cinematic villains. He is sympathetic, intelligent, and dangerously persuasive. He gave the devil a psychology. He made evil cool. This sophisticated, rebellious fallen angel is the character that would sail across the Atlantic and take root in the American imagination. In colonial America, the devil was no abstract concept. He was a real and present danger. For the Puritans, the forests of the New World were his literal territory. The Salem witch trials of 1692 were fueled by a genuine belief that Satan was actively recruiting followers to overthrow the Christian community. Preachers like Jonathan Edwards, in his famous sermon, Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, painted a terrifying picture of a hell where people were dangled over a fiery pit. This fire and brimstone version of Satan became a powerful tool for social control. But as America grew more secular, Satan began to shift. He morphed into a folkloric character, the trickster you might meet at a crossroads to trade your soul for a fiddle lesson, as in the famous song, "The Devil Went Down to Georgia." It wasn't until the 20th century and the invention of cinema that Satan found his greatest stage. And it was in the genre of horror that he will be reborn. The late 1960s and 1970s were a time of immense social upheaval in America. The Vietnam War, the counterculture, the sexual revolution traditional values were being questioned everywhere. The country was anxious. And Hollywood tapped into that anxiety. In 1968, Rosemary's Baby brought Satan into the modern secular world. The evil wasn't in a haunted castle. It was in a chic New York City apartment building among friendly, sophisticated neighbors. The film suggested that the devil could be anywhere, that evil could be born into the most normal-seeming family. 5 years later, in 1973, The Exorcist changed everything. It made demonic possession terrifyingly real for a mainstream audience. The film's power was in its realism. It blended Catholic ritual with medical procedure. Satan wasn't a monster with horns. He was an invisible, psychological force that could invade the body of an innocent child and turn a family's home into a war zone. Then, in 1976, The Omen presented Satan as a political conspiracy, with his son, the Antichrist, being secretly adopted by a powerful American ambassador. These three films create the modern cinematic Satan. He is insidious. He attacks the family, the most sacred American institution. He corrupts innocence. He doesn't need to show up with a pitchfork. His true horror is his unseen influence, his ability to turn our world and our children against us. Since then, this image has been played with, subverted, and parodied. We have the charming, crime-solving devil in the TV show Lucifer. We have the goofy, long-suffering Satan in South Park. But the terrifying, invasive demon of The Exorcist remains the dominant image in American horror. It's the version that truly terrifies us. So, the character of Satan has had a remarkable journey. He began as a title, the accuser, a member of God's celestial staff. Influenced by other religions, he became a cosmic rebel and God's great enemy. Medieval art gave him his monstrous body, and epic poetry gave him his tragic soul. And in America, he became the ultimate movie villain, a reflection of our deepest fears. In the paranoia of the Cold War, he was the communist. In the social upheaval of the 70s, he was the corruption invading our homes. In our modern, secular age, he represents the terrifying possibility that evil is a real, tangible force in a world that has tried to explain it away. The evolution of Satan is the evolution of evil in our own imagination. We shape him again and again into the vessel that best contains the anxieties of our time. He is far more than a religious figure. He is a cultural icon, a dark mirror held up to ourselves. So here's the final question. Which version of Satan do you find the most compelling or the most terrifying? The celestial prosecutor, the tragic hero of Paradise Lost, or the demonic entity of modern horror? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to read your perspective. If you enjoyed this trip into the dark side of history and culture, be sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the ideas that shape our world. Thanks for watching.